in Storm.
There you go. Again, we're here.
That's how it's spelled.
With our second match of the night. We just wrapped up with our first one with Team Vitality versus Starlight Twinkle. That has concluded, and we're here to end it all with Offside versus Storm Na'Vi, as you did mention. And up first, we have an interesting one. We have a matchup between a random player and a Protoss with uThermal versus Gerald.
Here we go. It was a huge... Not only was it a huge shock when we all heard that uThermal Mark was coming out of retirement to actually play in a league like WTL. It was even bigger shock when we heard that he wasn't going to be playing Terran, or at least not all the time. He, in fact, was going to be playing random.
Yeah, for those
much much like his series on YouTube.
There you go. For those who don't know uThermal, he at one point was a pro gamer. He was full-time, and he was quite successful as well. I would say that he was at one point one of the best Terran players outside of South Korea. Even won some of his own accolades, won some of his own tournaments as well. So very impressive career from uThermal. And then he took a step back. He retired. He focused on his YouTube channel. He's the content man. He's the YouTube man as well nowadays. A very successful YouTube channel, might I add. And did recently decide to compete once again, but not as Terran like he used to, as random.
But this time playing as Terran. In the top right, we have a blue Terran player for Offside Gaming. It's uThermal.
And in the top left, we have a Storm Na'Vi. It is Gerald.
Sporting a little bit more facial hair this time.
Yeah, it was last week.
Throwing it back.
We got excited. Last week, he started to grow his facial hair again. He was getting a little bit scruffy, and I was curious if he was going to grow it or if he was going to shave again. I was still like holding my breath, but he has yet to shave it. This could be the return of the mustache.
And if it is, he'll be unstoppable. He's already on the up and up. He's already, cleaving his way and, becoming a terrifying name in the Polish scene, in the overall EU region in general as well.
Yeah.
He's gone from an up-and-comer to now being on the up? Question mark?
And coming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He has... Yes. I'm not going to finish that sentence because I feel like it's going to be taken out of context.
Oh, God.
I'm wise to you all.
I get what you're saying. You're saying that he was coming and now he has arrived. And here we go. We have uThermal kicking things over with a proxy Rex across the map. Double guys, I'm curious if there's going to be a proxy Marauder build. As I say that, there is no add-on. We're going for Reaper across the map, and it's only one Rex, so not the most committed build.
Yeah, I was going to say he was quite fond of proxy Reapers. He had a guide on YouTube specifically on how to do proxy... did I say proxy Reapers? I meant proxy Marauders. How to do proxy Marauders in TVP. One that I shamelessly stole.
I mean,
yeah, it's not going to be that this time.
Yeah. This time it's just going to be Reapers. We're transitioning back at home. Oh, that's a kill on the SCV, by the way. So... bit of a rough loss there for uThermal. That SCV should not have died back at home. Meanwhile, the bunker is on the way. Can we try to keep this SCV alive? Can we avoid that Zealot? So far, we are.
But not for too much longer, as it does get taken out before the bunker completes. Whatever uThermal had planned here, he is going to have to scrap those plans.
Yeah, I mean, if the bunker had finished, then we can delay mining time at the natural. We can focus on the pylon. We can get more damage done. Very clean defense here by Gerald to minimize his losses, to shut down the bunker, and now uThermal has to race back home. Now uThermal has to transition.
Yeah, into... I mean, I'm trying to speculate, but I'm not sure how you would transition from here. He is getting a couple of safety cyclones, so at the very least he will be able to keep himself afloat.
Yeah, we do have those Cyclones on the way. Reapers are racing back home. Behind this, Gerald is going for his tech of choice. It's going to be a Twilight Council opener here out of Gerald. Unlike Rewhite, this should be Blink. Rewhite was very fond of his charge-based play, but Gerald is a little more standard compared to Rewhite, so Blink should be on the horizon here from our Polish Protoss.
Yeah. Very versatile upgrade that you can have here. Very versatile opening for Protoss. You can use it defensively, offensively. It's all about how you build it.
Oh my god, and the Reapers, the KDA charges are very impressive here as uThermal gets 3 probe kills and he escapes with both Reapers. Very nice micro, very nice control from our Terran player as he does rotate back around. Oh, he does run into the Stalkers, has to be wary, has to be careful. But because these Reapers are up and running, it means that Gerald is stuck at home. He's stuck at home, and uThermal, he's not done with his aggression.
That he is not. He does reveal his hand a little bit here, dropping the Cyclones to take out the Adept, but I think uThermal is feeling confident enough in his control, in his micro, that he doesn't mind Gerald knowing that 2 Cyclones are coming his way.
Yeah, exactly. Especially upon shutting down that Adept. I'm sure he's happy with that
Ooh.
trade. Meanwhile, he's going to be moving out. We do get on top of some of these Stalkers. Good KDA charge once again from uThermal.
And 2 of them will go down.
Huh?
Cyclones take absolutely no damage. The Reapers finally get taken out, but they have done their job. They have been able to zone these Stalkers away. They have been able to stretch Geralt's attention, and now these Cyclones are going to enjoy the benefits. 8 probes get taken out.
This is getting out of hand. This is getting way out of hand here. It's only a double Cyclone job. We get 2 Stalkers, we get 8 probes. We deny so much mine time as well, and what's scary is that the Cyclones are still alive. You can see Gerald trying to hunt this down, but Blink is not done. We cannot chase his back, and uThermal, he may even get even more damage done with this.
Yeah, it's going back into the main. The Stalkers are not in position, but uThermal is playing this out safe. Gerald did scout the Cyclones over there with his probe, so he will be loading them back up. The Cyclones back up, will be going back home, preparing for round 2.
And what does round 2 entail? It entails a 3-1-1 setup, 3 Raxes, 1 Factory, 1 Starport. We are massing up Stim, Combat Shields, Marines, and Marauders as well. uThermal, this 2-base push is going to hit like a truck, but we're still building it up. Meanwhile, Gerald, he's fighting for map control. He's looking for this drop as well. Blink is finally done for our Protoss.
And now the tables have turned. Gerald. It is now Gerald's time to try to punish this, and important to note, uThermal has no tanks. He is pretty vulnerable to a blink, to a heavy blink aggression. Gerald doesn't have that many gateways, but with good enough control, he can still cause a huge delay here for uThermal.
Yeah, it's only 3 gateways behind this, so we do get across the map with a decent amount of Stalkers. We pick up a couple of Marines, but at the same time, the Cyclones, they drop across the map. 3 probes go down, and it looks like uThermal, he does defend his main. He defends, and he attacks.
But most importantly, he stim pack research completed.
you almost had it. You almost had it, Yaku. I was like, oh, he's on it, Papi. He's on it.
He researched stim pack. There we go.
There you go. There you go. And with that, uThermal is still hidden here. He's still to survive, pulling back towards the top left-hand corner of the map. He's in the dead space, keeping Gerald's attention back at home. Meanwhile, he's going to try and push in, but uThermal, he's going to be able to shut this down. And again, uThermal is playing very goddamn well here. What I will say is that these past couple of weeks, uThermal has been rolling Protoss, he's been rolling Zerg. His random has not been lucky, has been avoiding his main race. But here you can see that if uThermal is allowed to play his main race, he can take it to even a player of the caliber of Gerald. Really impressive stuff so far.
Very, very much so. uThermal is starting to push out now. Concussive Shells has finished up. +1 weapons on the horizon. The double mines will be in. Just not enough to take out the Warp Prism, but the turret in the mineral line will finish things off. Gerald will lose that Warp Prism, will lose all of his map control, and yeah, it's going to be forced to defend. I completely forgot about this double Cyclone drop, as did Gerald, potentially, and it is drawing a lot of attention away, killing a couple of probes. One of them will go down. Finally, I believe that medevac discs get taken out, but feels like it's too little too late. uThermal is at 74 army supply versus Gerald's 20.
Yeah, uThermal is snowballing out of control, pushing on in. Storm is not done. We depower everything of the natural. The Artosis pylon goes down, and now there's almost nothing left here for Gerald. He's rolling in with a couple of Zelts, with a couple of Stalkers, but alas, the Bio Army stims, and it does win. Earlier, we saw a big reaction shot as well. Gerald shaking his head. GG gets called, and the Protoss fan takes game 1.
Popping off over there. Spreading his wings.
uThermal is like,
spreading his wings like a fan.
Just give me my Bane race. That's all he needs. Just give him Terran, and he can take it to some of these big players out there. GG, very impressive stuff. And uThermal puts a point on the board for his team, for Offside.
There we go. Very strong start here for OFFSYDE Esports. Very pleased with himself, as you can see on the cam.
Very pleased indeed. Meanwhile, a shout out to OnSide in the chat, by the way, for gifting us, for donating a little bit here. $6.90. Nice, with the comment, let's go OFFSYDE Esports. Let's go, Papi. Let's go.
Let's go indeed. OFFSYDE Esports. Do apologize for saying OFFSYDE Gaming.
I mean, they've had some rebrandings in the past. It's okay, it's okay. But yes, they are OFFSYDE Esports, and that's a big start here for uThermal. I'll be honest, coming into this, I had a little bit more faith in, or I had a little bit more stocks behind Gerald, and you can see Gerald taking that loss a little bit hard here. He's gonna have to try to calm things down coming into this.
Yeah, might need a little bit of a moment here to collect himself a little bit. He has chosen this next map, so you know, he does seem to have a plan of how to bounce back from here, but yeah, it just does need that a couple of moments once again to regain that mental and to try to approach this once again.
Yeah, the difficult thing here is something that we're all aware of, and it has impacted some players before, is losing to uThermal. You don't just lose a game.
Yeah.
You know that uThermal, he's gonna make a video. he's gonna make a video about that game. Yeah. He's gonna post it on YouTube, and it's gonna get thousands of views, mate. And everyone's gonna watch, everyone's gonna know, and uThermal's gonna be commenting over it as well. Like, it's a big blow here. And it's just something we have to deal with. Again, best of luck here to Gerald to be able to just recalibrate and take that in stride, and hopefully that doesn't affect him too much coming into game 2, because that's a kind of another factor here coming into a loss.
Yeah, that's definitely another factor coming into a loss, but especially a loss in game number 1. You also know that uThermal is still going to be playing random. You know, next game, you still don't really know. You're still not 100% sure what to expect. There is that little element of just not quite being able to prepare against that. There's still that little element of luck. Yeah, that hopefully what you prepared is also the race that uThermal ends up rolling.
I'm also really curious about something, because uThermal, he has been playing random these past couple of weeks, but they're showing the Terran logo, and he might be race picking, by the way, as in the bottom right hand corner we have uThermal for OFFSYDE.
And over in the top left we have Gerald for Storm Na'Vi.
But yeah, I don't know if you saw, like, in the when we were getting ready for the matches and when we were loading in, next to uThermal's face on the cameras, usually they have a random logo there, but they had a Terran logo instead. I think he's picking Terran this time, like, intentionally.
Yeah, I mean, Terran twice in a row, that can't be a coincidence.
Yeah, I don't know if our offside or onside managers could let us know here if this week is uThermal rolling random and rolling Terran, or is he intentionally now picking Terran instead? Which I can get behind. Like random has been a lot of fun, that's true, but the reality is that uThermal's Protoss and Zerg is weaker than his Terran.
Yeah, just as a fact. It is weaker, and especially as we are getting a little bit deeper into our group stage, you know, especially with how OFFSYDE has performed so far. They are, kind of in the middle of the pack, slightly below the middle. They need to take this 100% seriously from here on out to secure their position in the playoffs.
Yeah, and we
Gemini, let us know.
Well, we just got an update in the chat.
Yes, sir. Mark is playing Terran tonight. He has race picked.
There you go. There you go. So uThermal now maybe going into serious mode here in WTL. You know, no longer are we leaving things up to chance. Now uThermal is picking Terran and showing us that he is a force to be reckoned with his main race. We're getting into game number 2 here. So far, everything looking normal. This time, uThermal does not proxy across the map, and uThermal does open up with a Rax expand setup here in his main.
Yeah, not quite going to be the proxy that we saw in game number 1. Not the double gas that we saw early on as well.
Yeah, exactly. Something a little bit more economic here from uThermal. A safer, as you mentioned, just because the CC is hidden in the main base, just so we don't really get disrupted in the early game. And coming into this, Gerald, he's going to be taking this more seriously as well, right? You know, maybe Gerald was a little bit more carefree in game 1, but now the pressure is on. Oh my... Did he scout?
He just barely missed that.
Let's go!
Dude...
Okay, that was so close, by the way. That was a very close scout that did fail for Gerald. Reaper is going to be slipping in. That's going to be a proxy starport. It looks like going to be a Hellion drop into the main, I imagine, with a proxy medevac.
Yeah, that would be the safest option. Would make a whole lot more... would make a lot of sense as well with the reactive factory.
Yeah, exactly. The Hellions are amassing. There we go. The medevac is on the way, so it's going to be a medevac drop into the main base. Now, for those of you that are curious, as the Reaper does go down in the main, it does take 3 Hellions to one-shot a probe. And not just that, but obviously probes do line up to the splash damage of Hellions, so a lot of damage potential is available here for uThermal. We'll see if he can get across the map. We'll see if he can bust into the main base. Adept does end up getting here, does end up scouting some of these Hellions, and the Hellions are actually already quite low.
Yeah, that last one just barely able to survive, but it should survive that much longer here when it goes up against the defenses of Gerald.
Yeah, you can see Gerald is in position with a handful of units, and again, because of how low these Hellions are, we should be able to shut this down. uThermal going to be dropping here, but again, the Hellions are being focused out one after the other.
Yeah, seems like a little bit of a premature unload coming out here from uThermal. I was hoping they could kind of break through or zoom past the Stalkers and zoom past the Adept, get into the mineral line, but yeah, not quite.
Yeah, not quite, and you can see that, again, because the Hellions were softened up earlier, they were completely shut down. Gerald, clean defense here. He may not have scouted, but he does shut down the aggression, and now Gerald gets away with a third base. Blink is on the way, and we're transitioning into Colossus production. This time, Gerald's going for a much more economic build here and setting up towards the mid-game.
Yeah, slowly but steadily. Yeah, still going to be getting that Robo Bay. Going to be taking into Colossus. Going to be just trying to get his 3 bases, potentially 4 bases, and trying to fortify them, secure them as quickly as possible.
Exactly. Really, our eyes are on uThermal right now. We've seen a lot of 2-base all-ins already today. Like, Maru went for a 2-base all-in against Protoss. Ryung went for a 2-base all-in against Protoss. Will uThermal do the same? We're building up with a 3-1-1. We have a lot of add-ons, upgrades on the way behind this as well. I don't see a third CC yet. It's maybe a little bit too soon to really confirm what exactly uThermal is up to, but it's even making Hellions behind this.
I'll call it. It's 2-base all-in. The boys are gonna be pulled. I'll call it.
I mean, again, like, seeing the Hellion production is a little bit peculiar here. He's going for, actually, looks like another Hellion drop that he's setting up on the right-hand side.
Yeah, an interesting choice here coming up from uThermal. Gonna be prioritizing probe damage above pretty much everything else. I mean, it is nice to go for drops regularly like this, just to keep tabs on your opponent, to keep track of how they're attacking, but you normally expect something like Widow Mines, right? That you can just kind of set and forget, and sure, they might not do that much damage, but sometimes they do a whole lot of damage, and that's all it takes.
I mean, I like
Hellions.
Go on.
Yeah, I was just going to say Hellions are a bit more reliable, but they do require a lot more focus.
They do, and I do like this drop from uThermal, but Gerald, with his map vision, with his map presence, he does scout this ahead of time. The medevac getting very low, but we do get into the mineral line. Probes are finally going down.
But not too many of them. They didn't quite line up the way uThermal wanted them to.
Yeah, it's 4 Hellions for 4 probes. Acceptable losses here for Gerald. At the same time, uThermal tries to push in, but the Colossus is already in position. And Gerald, he does swat away the army. Gerald, he will hold.
Yeah, we'll be moving a little bit out in the open of the map. Charge just about completes, and this is going to completely shut down the aggression of uThermal. Medevac's being targeted down, but there's not too many Stalkers left.
Yeah, one medevac does fall. Good kiting though from uThermal, does shave off a lot of these zealots, a surprising amount actually. So Gerald does bleed out quite a bit there, but behind this, uThermal's not going for a 2-base all-in. He does expand, does take a 3rd base, is looking to get into a longer game, and once again being active with these drops.
Yeah. Pretty much what I think of when I think of TVP, just drop and keep dropping.
Oh yeah, the drops, we'll see if we can keep up with them. We see that on the right hand side, we're going to be able to keep up with at least some of these Marines and Marauders. Drop coming into the main, this time not much in position.
Yeah, the shield battery is here, but still not quite going to be able to make up for the sheer DPS. No probes go down, surprisingly, or only one probe went down.
Only one worker, we have a double drop towards the left hand side, but the Colossus and Zelts are in position as well, so Gerald accurately doing just such a great job here, splitting up his army, able to keep up with all the drop harass, and uThermal hasn't really done much damage, but on the plus side, he also didn't really lose much either. He has some of these medevacs that are kind of pinned down and trapped, but the supply is still up and running, is still alive there for uThermal.
Yeah, he hasn't lost much, so these units in the medevacs can still make up the forces for when he goes for his eventual timing push. He's also containing Gerald on 3 bases for quite some time. uThermal and Gerald were both on 3 bases for quite a while, and that's not exactly ideal for Protoss.
Oh, it isn't. Ideally, want to be taking that 4th base a little bit faster. There we go. The 4th is now on the way for Gerald, but still needs some time to really kick in. Behind this, uThermal working on the armory, working on eventual 2-2. We do have a tri-pronged attack. Drop coming into natural probes are finally going to be going down.
As uThermal, with the drop in the middle of the map, going to be trying to clear up some of these spotter pylons. Oh. Gerald did a good job of splitting up his probes until the very end there. 9 of them will end up going down total.
Yeah, 9 probes to deny the 4th base as well, but at the same time, we've had enough. Gerald sending everything across the map. 3 Colossi in his massive army. He does deny the 3rd base, forcing uThermal onto 2 bases, and can Gerald keep pushing? Well, for now, though, it looks like he's coming back home, as we may have just tried to commit a base trade here. uThermal going for the robo.
Yeah, quick warpings of Zealots will be keeping it alive a little bit longer. Can the Disruptor pop out? Thermal focusing it down. The Disruptor does pop, but the robo will fall regardless. Medevac full of units will get taken out, however. That's the first real major loss uThermal has had, and that may just be enough to halt and stall his momentum.
Yeah, but uThermal has got a pretty hefty army back at home. That's a lot of Marines, that's a lot of Marauders. To be fair, Gerald hasn't lost any Colossus. His Colossus, they have survived this entire time. He has a terrifying army himself. This is still not over here. Gerald is pushing in, and can he break uThermal?
We shall see. I was about to say that uThermal doesn't really have an easy answer to these to all these Colossus, but Viking production is on the way. So the longer this goes on, the more I do want to favor uThermal.
I mean, I like uThermal's position because the robo's in production. You can see the robo still is not rebuilt. Because it was sniped earlier, there's no more Colossus, no more Disruptors, only 1 Disruptor with the main army. Right now is a big window that uThermal can abuse, where Gerald cannot rebuild any robo units.
And it's a window that he absolutely needs to jump through right now. Break the glass, get right on through it. He needs to take advantage of the situation that he's got. Warp Prism being set up across the map here for Gerald. We could see another bit of a pseudo base trade scenario. This 4th base is super exposed. Gerald forced to retreat. I believe he used up his recall earlier on, unfortunately.
Yeah. He's just running back home. 12 probes go down. The mine shots are insane. There was a Zealot counterattack. A Zealot run by towards the 3rd base. We have a Prism into the main, but it looks like uThermal is keeping up. He pulls back his main army. He's defending back at home, and as long as he doesn't engage with the Colossus, uThermal should be okay.
I think a Purification Nova popped. Because all of a sudden, yeah, uThermal lost 30 army supply, something like that.
Yeah, and a lot of SCV is going to be going down as well. Zealot run by finally gets cleaned up. You can see Gerald, he's pushing across the map. He's not slowing down. Another big warping of Zealots, and uThermal, he's in a bit of trouble. He does fall behind in supply.
Yeah, starting to fall behind in supply. Gerald has so much momentum behind him. Needs to be careful not to expose his Colossus too much. There's still a lot of Vikings in the sky. But all of a sudden, I'm liking Gerald's position a lot more than even just 30 seconds ago.
Yeah, again, whether it was a Nova going off or not, I mean, we saw Gerald try to climb back up in that supply, even things up as well. The rovers are now up and running. We have 2 disruptors being built at a time. That window that we spoke about has closed, and Gerald has now reestablished his production.
Yeah, the window has closed. It's been fortified with bulletproof glass. It's going to be a lot tougher trying to break in through it.
It is, and we get a warp it into the main base as well. The Widow Mine slightly misplaced, or slightly just out of range of the Warp Prism, and here we go, we're pushing in good EMPs on the main army. Nova goes off. This time it does not connect, and Gerald doesn't quite commit yet here. As Zealots in the main base being cleaned up, they only get 4 SCVs. There are more on the way.
Yeah, more SCVs, but also more Zealots to kill those SCVs. Bio will be cleaning up the rest of this, but uThermal at this point, even losing 5 SCVs is devastating. He's only on 3 bases, which was fine when he was ahead in army supply, when he was the player applying pressure and keeping Gerald on the back foot. Now that the tables are turned, this is not an ideal economic position at all for uThermal.
Yeah, I mean, Gerald, he's back up to 3 disruptors. His 4th base is now up and running as well, so he's recovering in his own economy. uThermal still has an army supply lead, but all it takes is like a couple of good Novas. We're up to 5 disruptors.
And that's insane. We saw, or inferred, just how much things can change, can swing in favor of the Protoss player with just one well-placed Purification Nova. That was another pretty good Nova. Gerald just needs another 1 or 2 more of those.
Yeah, well, it takes a couple of Novas. Speaking of, they do go up. They do catch a Ghost there towards the end. Good splits here out of uThermal, but damage is still being done. Vikings push on forward. Looks like the Colossi are going to be going down, but what about the rest of the ground army?
Yeah, it looks like a lot of disruptors do get taken out. The Vikings are trying to land, and Vikings do surprisingly well against Stalkers. Battery Overcharge putting in a lot of work. uThermal's economy is in absolute shambles right now. If he wasn't all in before, he is all in now. He's got a higher army supply, slowly making their way across the map. They are so overstimmed, but I think this flank may just about be enough.
His army is deep in the red. As you said, heavily overstimmed here is uThermal, and he's bleeding out units here to the Zealots. Reinforcements coming in. Gerald, he's barely holding on.
And barely holding on is gonna be enough. GG is called. Gerald fights back in a nail-biter of a match, and he will be taking this game. He will be tying up the series score 1-1, halting the momentum of OFFSYDE Esports.
GG, well played. You can see there, Gerald, he did look a little bit relieved, but he wasn't too happy, because he's like, at least he stopped 2 videos from being made, but uThermal is still going to make one of those videos for game 1. It's
he's assigned himself to just 1, but
yeah.
He's happy he prevented 2.
Exactly. Happy he prevented the 2-0 here. We are tied up 1-1. Still anyone's game, but that was a very impressive showing by uThermal. I mean, to be honest, again, even game number 2, uThermal almost took as well. That was a very close hold there by Gerald. He barely did survive, barely did hold on. If it wasn't for those Novas, right? If those Novas were a little bit off, if they were off mark, if uThermal was able to split a little bit better, if it was able to avoid some of those Novas, even a handful of extra units would have been the difference there of a win for our Terran play.
Yeah, it felt like uThermal was really dictating the pace of the game there. For the most part, he was the more active player. He was focusing a lot. He pretty much decided very, very early on that he was just going to stick with 3 bases and then just keep pumping out units to continue to harass and attack Gerald. Gerald was buckling a little bit under all of that pressure, under all of those triple-pronged harasses. But one well-placed Purification Nova gave him a little bit of breathing room, and he inhaled deep. He breathed as much as he needed to, and he was able to clutch out the comeback.
He did. GG, well played. We have a back and forth. Gerald does tie things up 1-1, and now it comes down to our next set of players. Up next, we have Rex versus MaxPax.
Here we go. Our final non-TVP of the evening, one of only 2 that we're going to be getting tonight, is going to be the ZVP again between one of the best players in Taiwan. I think definitely the best Zerg player in Taiwan. I don't think that's really in contention, versus arguably the best Protoss player in the world, definitely the best Protoss player in Europe. I don't think that's in contention either.
Yeah. I mean, I would still rate Hero higher in the world rankings, but I do know that MaxPax did do well for himself in the European regionals as of late, so you know, he still can definitely contest against Hero in that number 1 ranking.
Yeah, did pretty well in the EU regionals. Unfortunately, we're not going to be able to see him duke it out with Hero in ESL Masters Dallas, unfortunately. I remember there was a little bit of hope for like 12 or 13 hours because Coffee immediately declined his seed and MaxPax hadn't yet. So there was that little half a day where we allowed ourselves some copium that, maybe he'd rock up in Dallas. He'd rock up with the cowboy hat. Then he woke up and declined his seat.
I was gonna say, man. I mean, the cope was real for anyone that believed that MaxPax would show up in Dallas, but he is still gonna be showing up, of course, in these online events in WTL, and we'll see what Rex has in store for us. Now, what I'm excited about here. MaxPax is the favorite player. 100%, he's the favorite player coming into this. Looking at our predictions as well, we are going to be getting them. And oh my god, 100% of the predictions in favor of the 2-0 for MaxPax. Oh, Jesus. What I will say to counteract that, though, is that Rex, he usually comes in with a plan, with a specialized build, with an all-in, and he has caused upsets already in WTL. Rex, don't count him out.
I had to double check, but I don't think I'm allowed to say anything to counteract that because I contributed to that 100%. But I do agree with you there. Like Rex is not one to be counted out. But speaking of which, here we go on Amphion. In the bottom left, we have our blue Berserk player representing OFFSYDE Esports. It's Rex.
And in the top left, we have as opponent, we have MaxPax for Storm Gaming.
And going back to the previous point, Rex is not usually someone who we can count out just because when he is on the back foot, when he is a player who is the underdog in the matchup, he is known to kind of hold nothing back and has proven himself to be able to really punch above his weight multiple times. You know, there's a reason why way back in the day, in the early stages of WTL, when teams required a player from the region, from China, Taiwan, Hong Kong, one of those places, Rex was the one who was picked up by General Greenwings.
He was. He spent some time in Korea, spent some time training, practicing, improving, and to even gloss over, or to not gloss over some of these accolades from Rex, it was last week. It was last week that Rex took down Cure. He took a map off of Cure in WTL, and that was already just a shocking result. And it does show us that, again, Rex, he can come in with that specialized build, with something like an all-in or just a game plan here to bring down some of these bigger names and these bigger players. So I want to have faith here. I want to believe in Rex, but we'll see. We'll see what we get into. As game one so far, Hatchcats Pool, standard builds.
Standard as... What? How does the simile go? Right? Or I guess it's not a simile, but how does the saying go?
Standard as standard can be. Is that good?
I guess standard. What's something that is standard?
Standard, you know? Like a flag.
Yes.
Like a battle standard, you know.
I agree. Yeah. Standard like a
Standard like standard like stats. Like I don't... that fits. That works.
Standard as stats.
Standard like Showtime. Showtime doesn't flow as well.
Standard as statistics. Yeah.
There you go. Like
anyway, we're not seeing anything crazy. That's what we're trying to get at.
You can't say like innovation. Like that doesn't fit. Like I'm trying to think of like a stock standard player. You know, like someone
stock standard player who has a name that also makes sense here.
Yeah, exactly. I like stats.
Standard. We all do.
for now, though, we're just going to be settling in. Again, Hatch Gas Pool. Likewise, MaxPax is going for a Stargate opener. Again, nothing too crazy here. Everything looking as it should. With this Stargate opener, we should be getting into Oracle production. Meanwhile, we can see MaxPax making use of the high ground. Does take down one drone at the natural base. Ooh, does threaten the mineral line a little bit more, a little bit longer. But it looks like Rex should be able to maintain his position here. Should be able to resume mining. Oh, I spoke too soon.
As more Adepts do rock in. Vanilla Adepts, as is typical with this build, but still able to do a whole lot of damage, still able to harass Rex and really make him uncomfortable here in the early game.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, good defense so far by Rex. Honestly, a lesser player would have lost drones, and Rex did lose one worker, but not too much more than that. Again, 2 Adepts do one-shot drones, so they can threaten that mineral line quite heavily, and MaxPax is still being active, and soon to be even more active with his Oracle. Meanwhile, the wall's on the wall!
The Lings will slip on in, taking out that Adept, and now really pressuring the mineral line. Oracle forced to retreat all the way back home. Other Oracles still in production. Rex will confirm what he sees, will confirm the third base location of MaxPax as well. That is absolutely crucial.
Yeah, just...
These Lings might not have... might not have killed a lot of probes, but have still more than paid for themselves multiple times over.
They really have. Even a bit of a supply block here for MaxPax as his pylon was delayed. Oh my god, big disruption here for MaxPax. Whether it's the, again, busting into the natural, the delayed, or the supply block that we just saw, delaying the third base, getting a full scout off as well. So really nice down here by Rex. Meanwhile, the Oracles, they get across the map. But again, the Oracle harass is delayed, and Rex is in position. He will swat these Oracles back. Oh, not without losing some drones, though.
Yeah, good control from MaxPax, and a little bit of a delayed, little bit of a delayed Spore Crawler in the third base here from Rex. So 4 drones will go down. MaxPax will still be able to get value from these Oracles, but still, that was actually not that much. Now that we look at in terms of resources loss, it was only that one Adept, sure, but the timing, the delay on everything else, that was... We'll see if Rex is able to leverage that into a victory.
Yeah, so far I would say it was worth it for Rex. He does pick off another Adept as well across the map. He's applying pressure to third base. Oracles are forced to turn back around. And we have our transition. It's going to be a Forge and a Twilight Council +1 and Blink. Most likely, the Oracles are still getting more damage done. One more drone goes down. What's scary here is that MaxPax still has all 3 Oracles, and he's still trying to get some damage done. He does find another drone.
Yeah, trying to get some damage done and succeeding. 2 more drills go down. He's just gonna allow these Oracles to chill in the dead air, regain their shields, regain their energy. Get ready for round 2. He even has, because he went triple Oracle, he could even send one of them back home to help have a little bit of a clean defense against these Lings.
Yeah, exactly. And these things, they haven't been able to do too much here to the third base. MaxPax just finding another drone here in between the bases, just waiting for his own upgrades to kick in with +1 and Blink. Meanwhile, Rex is just trying to re-drone as best he can, trying to saturate on 3 bases, working towards a 4th. I spoke earlier about how I was excited to see if Rex had like a specialized build for MaxPax, and so far here in Game 1, it's been pretty stock standard. Again, it's like been pretty straight up play from Rex, I should say, which is, again, impressive, and I do have a lot of respect here for Rex to just try to go toe-to-toe with MaxPax. Not an easy feat to go up against MaxPax in such a fashion.
Yeah, absolutely not. Absolutely not. There's a reason why MaxPax is in contention for the best Protoss player in the world, and why there really isn't much contention when he is considered the best Protoss player in Europe.
Yeah, exactly, as we do see him pushing forward. Blink is not done yet, but he has Oracles to support his army. Stasis Traps being thrown down behind this as well to deny any kind of wraparound, any kind of dive here from the Lings. Queens push forward. Lings, they do dive in. Stasis Trap goes off, but only on 2 Lings, though.
Yeah, it looked very precarious here for Rex for a second, but now it's looking a little bit better. MaxPax still has a lot of momentum, a lot of firepower behind him. Rex rapidly running out of transfused energy. MaxPax still being careful. He doesn't want to overextend. He doesn't want to throw his lead, but he absolutely knows he has more than enough to win this game now.
Yeah, exactly. Another stage trap being baited out here by Rex. Hydras are amassing, by the way. We need to buy a little bit more time. Ooh, Lings are getting annihilated, though. They just melt here before those Stalkers, and without Lings, Hydras are vulnerable. They need that buffer.
And that buffer isn't here yet. A couple of Hydras are out now, but they are vanilla Hydras. They don't have a buffer. Queens are tanking a couple of shots, but they can only do so much when they don't have a lot of energy to transfuse.
Yeah, and you can see MaxPax, he's broken through the Lings. We're getting on top of the Queens, we're getting on top of the Hydras as well. MaxPax is breaking through, and Rex just barely cannot hold on here against the might of MaxPax.
This is such a good position for MaxPax to really utilize, just driving a wedge between the main and the natural base, preventing preventing Rex from really massing up his units together and being able to hit as one force.
Yeah, exactly. It's just such a brutal position here, and MaxPax is just reinforcing his overwhelming. Hydras get caught in the stasis trap. We have broken the natural. GG gets called, and MaxPax takes game number 1.
GG. Nicely done here from MaxPax. We were worried for a second. We were definitely worried after the Lings were able to get on in, when Rex was able to secure his 3rd base and was even going for that 4th, but MaxPax, he is the best Protoss player in Europe for a reason. He knew that he could just keep calm. He knew that if he just continued to build more and more units, he would be able to turn the tables and take the aggression to Rex, and that's exactly what we saw.
Yeah, and to give credit to MaxPax as well, he had some very nice Blink Stalker control when he was pushing in. He was able to shave off every single Ling. We had a swarm of Lings there, but so many went down before the Hydras arrived, and that's what mattered most there. By the time the Hydras were popping out, that swarm of Lings was non-existent. We didn't just not have enough buffer, not enough support for those Hydras. Without them, the Hydras were exposed, they were vulnerable, they got completely shut down, like Nexus first, for example, or just a gate into Nexus as well. So if MaxPax is a little bit too greedy, if he cuts too many corners, then maybe Rex can punish him.
Yeah, we shall see. But over here in the top right, it's Blue Zerg for Offside Esports. It was Rex.
And in the bottom left, we have MaxPax for Psystorm Na'Vi.
I like the logo for Psystorm Na'Vi, you know?
Uh-huh.
They just save time, put them side by side.
Like,
no need to combine them, just like, side by side.
I like it. They just put them together. They just put them one next to the other,
I
you
like
know.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why?
You know, they worked efficient, you know?
Like,
they were efficient.
You're like, I like
they
it.
worked
They
smarter.
didn't put in any work at all. It's great. Just like me. It's beautiful. I would do that. Shaking my head.
They couldn't look. See, the thing is, they couldn't afford Photoshop, so they couldn't. You know, what's the term? The technical term, like blend them in together. They couldn't blend them in together, so they just got MS Paint. They put them side by side.
Look, I'm just saying it would have been nice if they did blend them together in some way. You know, like a special shout out to Twisted Fairy, right?
I mean,
we have a lot of joint teams this season, and Twisted Fairy were the only ones to actually merge and actually create like a new logo.
And I like it
for their team. Yeah, it's good.
A legitimately new logo. It's not just a fairy on a brain.
Yeah. I mean,
it's a fairy with a brain.
It is a fairy with a brain. So, like, I feel like because they put in the effort, we have to give them a little bit of extra props to Twisted Fairy, right?
Yeah, there should be a specialized award. SC Boy, if you're listening, throwing that as an additional award. Creative merge logo, most creative logo merger.
Yeah, yeah.
Give it to Twisted Fairy.
Incentivize the other teams to do the same, you know, like I want to see a Psystorm Na'Vi like kind of like merged logo, you know. That's what I want.
What would it be though? Because if you think about it, Na'Vi doesn't actually have a logo.
It's I mean,
it's literally just the words, just Na'Vi.
Like, get creative with it. Look, I'm just saying that we've seen Psystorm, like, a shout out to Psystorm as well, because every season, I think they may have stopped, but for the past year, they would actually create a new logo for the season. Like, they would create like a St. Patrick's Day version of the Psystorm logo, or like, I think they did like a Christmas version as well, you know, for a while. Like, you know, they were willing to do that, you know, try to incorporate Na'Vi as well.
Psystorm Cup and stuff, yeah.
Yeah.
Just have Na'Vi twisting in the storm.
Exactly. Have them like in the tornado.
Yeah.
There you go.
There you go.
We have the goal base, by the way.
We do have the goal base. It was the first thing that Rex did in this game was make a beeline for the gold base, transferred all of his workers as well. MaxPax played standard, does scout this out, and he is looking to punish as hard as he can.
Oh, yeah, exactly. 2 drones go down already. 2 adepts have arrived. A 3rd drone gets picked up here. Good damage dealt by MaxPax so far, but Rex, he will end up catching, almost catching it up, but no, it does slip away. MaxPax able to escape here, and so far, good damage, and we'll see if MaxPax can punish this even further as we have oracles on the way.
We do have oracles, and we have barely any... I was going to say we have barely any anti-air. We have barely any anything here from Rex. These 2 adepts have been able to more than pay for themselves in all of this drone damage.
Yeah, he has, as the Oracle does defend back at home. Ling's trying to flood in. 5 drones went down in total here, and you can see the Rex is still trying to resaturate his base. He's still trying to take advantage of that gold base. Not going for any kind of major all-in, just trying to take an economic lead, but has been having a hard time keeping those workers alive.
Yeah, very much so. Hasn't been able to take advantage of the fact that he did get that gold base early on.
Yeah, as we are getting into
but with all
oracles.
Yeah, with all this pressure that he is applying on MaxPax, he is buying himself a little bit of breathing room.
Yeah,
MaxPax is fully walled in.
Bearing in mind as well that MaxPax is not taking a 3rd base, he's going for a Twilight Council, additional gateways. This looks like it could be Glaive Adepts.
It could. There we go. Glaive is now on the way.
There we go. So again, no Forge, no 3rd base. So Glaives is usually the transition of choice there from Protoss players. So Glaives is in production, and this is designed again to try to punish Rex, to try to punish him for being so spread out in between all of his bases. Can Rex keep up? Rex does thankfully have a Roach Warren on the way.
That he does. He doesn't have the most sizable link count at the moment, but he might not need it if he can get his roaches out sooner.
Yeah, as the roaches are amassing as we speak. A couple of adepts have been revealed, but this amount of adepts this early on is not the most unreasonable things to be scouting right now, as the oracles, they get even more drones in the main. Only 2 for the time being, but adepts are amassing, and again, thankfully, Rex is investing into these roaches. Meanwhile, MaxPax doubling down, not just going for adepts.
That's the Dark Shrine. You were mentioning it is a little bit more in vogue this season. Dark Shrines are making a little bit of a comeback, and this can absolutely be what shuts down this gold base. Rex, strangely enough, hasn't thrown down a Spore Crawler there yet.
He's all in. He
not going to have any detection.
Yeah, Rex, he cut workers at 33 drones. That is less than 2 base saturation, by the way. It is boosted because of the gold, but Rex is going for a Ling Roach Flood, hoping that maybe MaxPax is too greedy. But honestly, in this position, DTs are ideal.
Absolutely ideal. The lair only just got started. Overseers are going to be a long ways off. At the sound of the first swipes, I would not be surprised if, I would not be surprised if that's where Rex just kind of has to give in.
Yeah, and Rex, he's actually droning after losing so many drones. He's now opting to re-drone. He's not making any more roaches or lings. I assumed he was going for an all-in, but that is not the case. He's just trying to survive against these adepts, and he's having a hard time.
Having a very hard time going in between his bases. Creep is just about going to connect them, but even still, it's a long way to travel. And Adept Shades are just ever so slightly faster than roaches on Creep.
Yeah, and we can see that MaxPax is just forcing that creep to recede, getting some more Ling kills, getting into the mineral line as well, getting a couple of workers, and yeah, Rex, he is still struggling here. Again, the gold base is helping, but a queen goes down. Can we catch the adepts, though? Oh!
Yeah, good surround, good biles. Adepts are going to get cleaned up. No answer to the oracles yet, but they're also out of energy.
They are out of energy here, but at least Rex, he does survive. He does shut down those adepts. Behind this, he's still droning. Lair is done. Roach speed is on the way. Now we're going for a bit of a counterattack, but I'm not so certain that Rex can get much done here, as we already have stack defense on the way.
Yeah, cannons now in position. Shield batteries not too far away. And here come the DTs. Rex, well aware that he has no detection, forced to turn around, and in this retreat, while his army's in the middle of the map, it will allow a couple of adepts into his main base, will allow him to get even more drone kills.
Yeah, we have 2 adepts in the main, 2 adepts at the natural. We have DTs threatening the third base as well. We're getting 5 drone kills so far, and Rex forced to turn everything back home.
Like so. Forced to remake all of those drones. Not just remake all of those drones, spend larva to do so. Not investing in his army. He can't invest in his army just yet, as MaxPax gets further and further along in the tech tree.
Yeah.
Robo Bay now on the way.
The Bay is on the way, second robot for double Colossus production. With that Dark Shrine, we have Archons being produced as well. MaxPax's army, the complexity of his army is just getting better and better from the side of our Protoss player. Rex, meanwhile, is stuck on Ling Roach Ravager, and he's lacking those upgrades. I mean, +1 range is about to finish up, which is good, but I'm curious to see if Rex tries to actually saturate his 4th, or if he does commit on 3-base saturation instead.
Yeah, we shall see. That seems to have been the game plan so far for Rex, is to just keep his worker count 1 base behind the amount of bases he actually has, utilize all of that larva to just continue to pump out more roaches and lings.
And yeah, it looks like... Okay.
Yeah, would it be a bad idea just to get a macro hatch at this point, if you're Rex?
I think that's just the 4th base. I think that's just the macro hatch, because here we go, we're pushing out across the map with our Ling Roach Ravager. Do get us around here on one of those Archons. Not a bad pickup here as we do focus on the site defense. Oh, Colossi is still not out, by the way.
Yeah, still not out. Archons do get targeted down by the Roaches and by the Ravagers. Rex looking to turn the tables and take out this gold base. Archon goes down, no more splash damage available here from MaxPax. Biles will not quite land. Here comes the Colossus, and while it might not do a lot of damage against the Roaches and Ravagers, it's still AoE. It can still clean up weakened units.
Yeah, like, that wasn't a bad push from Rex, but unfortunately, as you mentioned, with the arrival of the Colossus, we just cannot commit. We cannot keep pushing. We have to back off. We got 5 probe kills, but the gold is still securely in the hands of MaxPax. Rex trying to rotate around, trying to find another way in. He does manage to catch a couple of transferring workers at least. He does shut down the Adept harassing, but Rex is on a bit of a timer. Rex, he's 3-base all in.
On 4 bases, yeah.
Yeah.
Might as well get a macro hatch. If you're gonna get a 4th, it might as well be a 4th that you can mine from. Or, if you're gonna get a macro hatch, it might as well be a macro hatch you can eventually mine from.
Yeah, again, he's staying on 62 workers. We're getting a good concave here on the army, collapsing on the goal base.
Colossus.
Can we get on top of the Colossus?
Not quite yet. Battery overcharge does get popped. A lot of probes starting to go down, but so is a lot of Rex's army. Couple of miles land, but it's not going to be enough to really put a dent in these stalkers.
Yeah, and you can see here that Rex is refusing the drone. So again, he is still 3-base all in here, and he's amassing up more roaches. Infestation is on the way, so he is thinking about teching up his army a little bit. That will gain access to Vipers, but this may just be a little bit too little too late. You know, I feel like we may have missed our opportunity to get into Viper Tech, because here comes MaxPax.
With 2 Colossus and a whole lot of stalkers.
Oh boy, yeah, that's a terrifying army here from MaxPax. Sure, Rex is maxed out, but that is inflated army supply. The stupid does lie here, and MaxPax does engage with half the army. Roach is getting picked up.
Yeah, it looks like Rex trying to set up a little bit of a sandwich here. I want to believe that if he gets the full surround, Rex might be able to pull something off here, take out the Colossus and go from there, but MaxPax just isn't giving him that opening.
Yeah, it is just not giving him it at all. We have +3 on the way for MaxPax, going for a Temple Archives. It's going to be for Storm production. DT's in the main as well, and MaxPax is snowballing out of control, pushing in towards that goal base. Rex is out of position.
He was all in before. He's even more all in now.
Yeah, I mean, going for a pseudo base trade, I'm not opposed to this. You can see Rex hitting the gold, and he might be able to get it, but MaxPax, he's not too far away at all. He's going to be able to chase down these roaches. Oh.
Yeah, gold goes down. And the roaches are going to try to get something done here. Rex, he has resigned to the fact that he will not be able to mine again for the rest of this game. He is not remaking any of his drones. He is not retaking those bases. It's just producing more roaches, more lings, and there is a path here. There is a possibility here, but it's very much reliant on MaxPax leaving himself vulnerable in the middle of the map, which so far he just has been doing a good job of avoiding.
Yeah, I mean, Rex has been all in for quite some time at this point, and now his all in has been weakened. He lost his natural, he's losing his gold base. He's down to 2 hatcheries remaining here, barely any saturation, down to 40 probes or 40 drones, and MaxPax is going in for the kill here. We have DT still harassing in the main base, still doing so much damage, killing what little is left of the economy of Rex, and this death ball of an army is pushing in. We do have the high ground, we do have a concave here for Rex, but the numbers are not on his side.
Not at all. The soup still lies, but not in the general decision. GG is called. MaxPax will be taking the 2-0 victory here for Psystorm Na'Vi, meaning that his teammate coming up will only need to win 1 game, 1 map to secure it.
GG, well played. A solid win there for MaxPax, and again, he came in as the favored player. It was on Rex to cause an upset, and I'm not opposed to the choice of post-youth. I mean, rushing into the goal base, notoriety here, as more people are taking notice, more people are taking note of Firefly. Last week, you mentioned it, Firefly did 3-0 Clem, and now it's the same matchup. He's up against Spirit.
Oh boy, indeed. Oh boy, indeed. Very good signs coming out here from Firefly. Very strong reason to predict the 2-0. But I will say this: Spirit is a much different player to Clem when it comes to style. You can see right here from Firefly just how much his elo shot up after last week. It's 173 ELO. That went up.
There we go. His elo is rising, and Spirit, unfortunately, we didn't get to see as much of Spirit last season. If you remember, he was on Psystorm. When he left Psystorm, he did stop competing in WTL, so we weren't able to see as much of him as we would have liked.
He can't escape.
He can't
escape being teammates with MaxPax.
He can't escape the Psystorm. He is back with a partnership with Na'Vi. And what I will say as well is when it came to last week with Firefly versus Clem, Clem was very aggressive. He was very all in. He was very in the face of Firefly. Spirit knows that. I'm sure he watched those games, and Spirit in general has a much more macro-oriented approach to TVP, so I'm sure we're going to be seeing a lot of mid-game instead, and we're going to have a much different dynamic as a result. As you mentioned, this is going to be a very different matchup to what we saw last week.
Yeah, definitely agree with that. Even still, though, even if we were to get into the mid-game, even if we were to get more macro games, it's still very hard to predict who's going to come out on top here between Firefly and Spirit. Now, Spirit does have a little bit of an advantage here, because he knows he only needs to win 1 map. 1 map is all it's going to take for his team to get that victory and to secure a victory here. And speaking of which, here we are on Akalon in the top right. The blue Protoss player representing OFFSYDE Esports is Firefly.
And in the bottom left-hand corner of Akiona, we have a Spirit for Psystorm Na'Vi. And very quickly, I don't know if you noticed the Discord predictions as I was just showing them off earlier. Fun fact, the predictions, 0% in favor of the 2-0 from Spirit. No one believed in the 2-0 from Spirit. It was either 2-0 from Firefly or 1-1 between the two players. It was like 50-50 between those two results.
Oof.
I mean, again, that's the faith in Firefly, mate. He's not going to get 2-0'd.
Yeah, absolutely. He's not going to get 2-0'd. He might get a 2-0.
Yeah.
And he kind of needs a 2-0 here.
He does.
To force the ace match here for his team. Now, more importantly than ever, Spirit, on the other hand, only needs a 1. Just needs to win 1 map here.
1 map is all we need, and here we go. For now, we do see Spirit going for an eBay block here on the low ground. Quick reaction out of Firefly. He did scout this ahead of time. We do have 5 probes on the low ground. That is going to be enough to DPS down the eBay to zone away that SCV and to force a cancel. Now, this is going to be a disrupted build. Thanks to the eBay block, it does mean that Firefly's expansion is going to be a little bit later than normal, so a nice little start for Spirit.
Yeah, gets the cancel right at the end, so whatever you can really do to keep your opponent on your toes, keep them honest, and just disrupt them wherever you can. Ideally, they all add up, these little disruptions.
Yeah, I Ideally, they do, and I'm sure they will here, so we'll see if Firefly can recover. Meanwhile, Spirit going for a Racked Expand, economic opener out of Spirit, nothing too crazy. As we mentioned, we did expect Spirit to approach this in a bit of a different direction or a bit of a different approach from what Clem did. Ideally, Spirit looking to head into the mid game.
Yeah, ideally. So he wants to go, but he is wary. Being very, very vigilant in his scouting, checking all of the potential proxy locations.
He is.
He watched the match. he watched Firefly versus Clem.
Yeah, he wants to make sure he doesn't get bamboozled here. Meanwhile, Firefly going for a Stargate opener back at home. I like this, specifically on this map and also against Spirit of all players. We are not going for a Twilight Council. We are going to be cutting some corners here. It's a little bit more risky to open up Phoenix. I'm assuming going to be making Phoenixes. We could go Oracle, but regardless, Firefly looking for map control and looking to get into a longer game as well.
Yeah. That's why they're most comfortable, really. As Oracle gonna pop up first, yeah, like you said, Oracle gonna pop up first, potentially in the Phoenixes, but that is a little bit more of a risk, and not necessary risk, but one that can pay off.
Yeah, interesting. Going Oracle first means that we're going to be seeing a little bit more aggression out of Firefly, at least harassing the mineral lines. He's not going for a Phoenix-based opener, so we could be transitioning into a faster Twilight Council back into Blink from here. We'll see what is done with the Robo and what comes from here.
Yeah, only going to be a single Oracle for the time being, so... This is... yeah, pretty interesting way of going about things. I would imagine Firefly wants to do normal PvT things, get into his Robo Bay, get into his Colossus, and just have a very safe backbone to his army. A little bit more defensive, but going Oracle into Colossus is not common at all, to say the least.
Yeah, and there it is. There's the Bay for the Colossus production on the other side as well. No second Oracle. There's no second Oracle. There's no Phoenix. Like, Firefly, he doesn't really have an army. Like, this is such a risky build from Firefly because he has no Blink, he has no Charge, he has no Phoenixes. He is so vulnerable to drop play. But thankfully for him, Spirit is being a little bit more passive. Like, he's, building up back at home. He's getting into the rest of his Raxes. He delayed his starport, which means no early drop harass.
Yeah, no early drop harass, but a much earlier stim.
Yes.
So when the drop does hit, it is going to hit a little bit harder.
Yeah, this is basically a 2-1-1 variation here from Spirits, focusing on making additional Raxes before the starport, focusing on stim production, which means no tanks either, bear that in mind. So yeah, this is going to be quite an aggressive follow-up, or quite an aggressive stim timing here from Spirit.
Yeah, he went for a little bit of an awkward 3-1. I was confused for a second because I only saw two Marines being made at a certain point. I was like, did he just go 2 racks and have both of them be tech labs? But no.
Yeah.
It is a 2-on-1. He was just delaying some units to get some buildings down.
Yeah, so with this 3-1-1, there are variations of this where you pull the boys. If Homeowner was playing, for example, I would 100% believe he was going to be pulling the boys and going for a 2-base all-in. Spirits on the flip side, though, we could just throw down a third CC behind this. There's no third CC yet, but we should be seeing one soon, as Firefly opens up with a Colossus drop. Oh my god.
It wasn't for defense.
Dust spot the Marine. Stim is done, bear that in mind, but here come the Colossi, and how much damage can we get done?
A decent amount, I would have to imagine. Spirit now splitting up his army. Stim did finish up, as you said.
For the Prism.
But Firefly, yeah, has eyes on this. Tried to go for the Prism. Wasn't quite able to get it. Colossus gets a couple of volleys off and should be able to clear out those Marines.
That's a good amount of Marines going down, by the way. And Firefly only loses shields for that, so very nice trades here from Firefly. You can see Spirit stimming the hell away from that, going for his own double drop across the map. Remember, stim is done, +1 is on the horizon. Combat shields has completed as well. This double drop has a lot of potential. Remember, there's no Phoenixes, there's no Blink, which means keeping up with this drop play is going to be difficult for Firefly.
I can't remember the last time we saw drop v drop play in TVP Light. But that's what we're witnessing right now. Nice little bit of micro here from Spirit to avoid losing the Cyclone, but he will be looting both of them in the end.
Yeah, really nice counter control, counter micro from Firefly. At the same time, drop into the main base, double jump towards the natural as well. Can Firefly keep up with the multi-pronged aggression here from Spirit?
Oh, really good split coming out here from Spirit, making sure that only a single Marauder was being targeted by the Colossus at a time. Entire mineral line with probes go down.
Exactly, 20 workers go down. Spirit pulling Firefly apart, dropping here towards the third base as well. And even though Firefly was doing well for himself with the initial trades, and our Tosis pylon gets picked off and we get 21 worker kills. Firefly is now falling behind.
Very far behind. That's 25 probes to 55 SCVs, not even counting the amount of mules that Spirit has. Spirit does only have 2 bases though.
He has 2 bases, but I believe he has finished the 3rd CC. I think this is the 3rd CC, the main base, ready to float on over. There you go. You have the orbital in production as we speak. Firefly, at this point, he's all in. At this point, there's no turning back. You can see 0 probes in the production tab there for Firefly. He knows how committed he is. He knows that he cannot macro out of this. It's all or nothing for our Protoss.
And does he have what it takes? Army supplies are even, and I do like Firefly's army a little bit more.
Well, the armor supply is even, and Spirit, he has like 4 active drops across the map. He doesn't have much at home to defend.
And he does not. He has a couple of bunkers. He has Vikings. There are only 4 Stalkers in position right now.
Oh, but the juggling is real. The Stalker's going to be able to focus out every single Viking. One Viking does survive. We're pushing in towards that natural base. Widow Shot's not quite going up. Bunkers are barely holding on, but it looks like Firefly should be able to break through.
Just about. Every single SCV goes down. Meanwhile, Spirit commits to the base race.
Do we have any workers? We've recalled the prison back home. The goal here is to save a probe. He needs to save some workers, and it looks like he will barely pick them up. He gets the hell out of there. He has to throw down some buildings.
He really, really does. We are committed right now. Spirit lifts up a building, floats into the dead air. This Viking needs to survive. This Viking is so important right now, not just in dealing with the Colossus, but also with the Warp Prism. Spirit lifting buildings.
Yeah, the Colossus.
He's gonna end up losing all of his production though.
1 Colossus goes down. Big pick off there from Spirit. Barely does get up, but the Prism does make it back home. You can see that we're running out of buildings back at home, but we have enough money here for a Nexus, and the Nexus should be on the way for Firefly. He saved the Probes. Where's the Nexus? We need it! Where is it?
He needs to build, he needs to build, he needs to build, he needs to build!
No!
Build!
Okay, we have it. So I was freaking out. Nexus is on the way as Firefly loses every single building back at home. And the question becomes, does Spirit have enough to break Firefly? Because all Firefly has to do is just chill back at home, resume mining here. You can see the CCs are on fire. As I say that though, Spirit has mules, and he's muling his heart out there towards the bottom right-hand corner of the map.
Does he have workers? He does. Okay.
He
and even if he doesn't have workers, he has supply to make more workers.
Yeah. He has mules.
Yeah. That's all you need.
Yeah, true. Oh, meanwhile, Firefly playing with fire right now, going for a Colossus drop across the map. It looks like he will keep that Prism alive just barely. Shuts down all these depots, will eventually supply block Spirit. We do have the base towards the north on fire, but soon to be repaired. And we're entering a really interesting game state as Spirit does not chase down the Prism.
Yeah, he knows that it could be a trap. He knows that he could be zooming his Medivacs straight into a wall of Stalkers. I'm liking Spirit's army, but I'm preferring Firefly's position.
I think in a head-on fight...
in that natural base.
Yeah, I think if both armies clash right now, Firefly wins. Because of the Prism. Like, he can micro, he can juggle his Colossus. Like,
true, yeah.
Juggling the Colossus is going to be a huge, like, micro potential for Firefly. But because of all these orbitals, because of all these mules, Spirit is going to be able to macro faster. If given time, Spirit, he will be able to get his production back up and running.
Yeah, Spirit not quite able to fortify his bases quite as much as Firefly. Oh, the starport. Very important starport. This Warp Prism goes down, then there goes all of that micro potential you were talking about. One more volley will not be landed. Warp Prism survives, and Firefly will still have that micro potential.
The
Widowmine will go off and take out a sentry, I believe.
Yeah, one sentry went down. You can see the Viking sharking around as well. Firefly fighting so hard here. He's trying to get on top of this starport. As you mentioned before, this is going to be a big pickup for Firefly. Likewise, he also gets eyes, I think, on the low ground mining. I don't think he's spotted it yet, but the problem is that if he strays too far away from his base, then Spirit can counterattack.
Yeah, if he gets into... Yeah, Spirit can counterattack. This is the only base that Firefly has, for starters, but also... I worry if Firefly exposes his army a little bit too much. If he goes into an open position, Spirit can go in for a bit of a concave, can take out the Colossus, and take out everything else as well.
Oh, he can. Meanwhile, the main army's going to be clashing. Show us a force field. Do catch some of those Marines and Marauders. A lot of fire going down there. At the same time, Zolse busts into the mirror line. SCVs are falling as well. Good pickups here from Firefly, but it looks like the Prism is going to be hunted down. No, it barely escapes again.
And all of a sudden, things are looking a little less even and a little more in favor of Firefly.
Yeah, we dive on in. Spirit, he knows he can't fight. He knows he can't fight head on. He's going for the base. He's going for the Nexus. Firefly has to respect it. He has to back off as well. You can see both armies posturing right now, trying to outposition the other.
And so far, Spirit's got a lot of mobility, but Firefly's been doing a really good job of just preventing Firefly from getting on top of that. That's a lot of Marauders, and it looks like Spirit is going to be setting up for a massive surround on top of these Colossus specifically.
Oh, the Prism almost goes down once again down to red HP, but this shows just, again, the macro, right? You can see the production tab. Spirit, he's actually making units. Firefly isn't. Firefly, he hasn't made a single unit since the base trade has begun, because it's been supply blocked the entire time, and Spirit, he is amassing a terrifying army.
I felt that in my soul when the Orbital Command burnt down. But yeah, this is a pretty strong army that Spirit has. He's going for a little bit of surround. Clutch force fields will be preventing Spirit from getting on top of things. There is a shield battery. There is a shield battery overcharge available. Colossus still stand strong. These sentries are running low on energy. There's still about 2 or 3 force fields, I think, still available here for Firefly.
Yeah, and this is a big tell as well. Like, Firefly, upon seeing that army, he should know, okay, you're actually producing. Like, you actually have an economy somewhere. He has not scouted top left. He has not scouted that base. He doesn't know that it's going on right now. He is aware of bottom right, and he's going for some more harass. At the same time, his army is about to almost get caught out.
Yeah, almost catches a Colossus still. Spirit making the safe shot, making the safe choice though of lifting up and retreating to more open ground.
Yeah, the problem here is that, again, Spirit is still just outproducing Firefly because of top left. Meanwhile, the Prism comes in. It does come across the army. Oh, God, no!
There's not enough anti-air!
Oh, my God.
Not enough anti-air, but still a very healthy Marauder count that Firefly needs to respect. Still enough force fields to cut the army in half. Battery overcharge available. Is it going to be enough? Not quite going to be enough.
Yeah,
is quite going to be enough.
Boys are being pulled. We focus on one of the Colossus. One Colossus does go down. A bit of miss micro there with the juggling, and it looks like there's nothing left. Spirit does break through. There's one Colossus remaining, and Spirit will take this. GG gets caught. Spirit takes game number 1.
GG takes game number 1, takes the victory for Storm Na'Vi, takes all of our hearts and all of our lives as I was on the edge of I think I stopped breathing for a solid 2 minutes towards the end of that game. Like, this is why everyone predicted this match going down to the wire. Oh, man. GG. Very nicely done by both our players. Could have swung either direction. Not gonna lie, at any point, if Spirit slipped up even once, I think Firefly would have been able to take a head-on engagement, would have been able to secure that victory, but Spirit, he never gave him that opportunity. He knew what his win condition was. He knew exactly where his advantage what his advantage was. And yeah, he just continued to mine, continued to produce Marauders, and eventually was able to outscale Firefly. outscale Firefly when both of them were down to less than one base. Let's be clear.
And that was just such an unfortunate position for Firefly because it was the top left base that won Spirit that game. It wasn't just the base, also the production that was there as well.
Yep.
And remember, that was also the base that was on fire down to red HP that was barely saved. If you remember, it was like about to burn down and Spirit did save it. I think Firefly just assumed that it did burn down because he was chasing it earlier, then he gave up on chasing it. I think he just assumed that it had died, and it didn't.
And he scouted the lone starport.
Yeah.
That was your base as well, which, you know, looked like the starport went down there and there would have been a base there mining, but it had to have burned down, right? But no, Spirit just was able to keep that base alive just long enough to land it, throw down a mule, and get that repair. That was so clutch. That was so important for Spirit there, and allowed him to claw his way back, and here we go. Continuing on Oceanborn in the top left, we have a blue Protoss player for OFFSYDE Esports, it's Firefly.
And in the bottom right hand corner, we have a Sidestorm Na'Vi. It is Spirit.
I don't know how they do it, Light. I don't know how I'm out of breath, but our players who actually had to perform and do all of that, I just had to witness it and I'm out of breath. Our players who had to do all of that are now just in like 2 minutes ready for game number 2. Less than 2 minutes ready for game number 2.
Exactly. They just want game after game. They want to just keep things going. No rest for the wicked here. And as you mentioned before, Sidestorm Na'Vi, they will take the series. It is first to 4 wins, and we have those 4 wins in favor of Sidestorm Na'Vi, but they will still play out game number 2. Firefly still has a chance to fight back for himself, for his team, for some extra money, for some extra WTL points.
Yeah, potentially the map score as well. If things really come down to the wire, you can decide which team heads off to the playoffs and which team doesn't. But for now, Systeminen, as we can see on the overlay here, has already won.
They have. But for now, we do have our openers getting underway. No proxies, no shenanigans for the time being.
Yeah. Offs, on the other hand, already lost.
They did end up with a loss here tonight. But again, some really good matches. Some really, really entertaining games overall. Again, winding it back a little bit, uThermal, he had a very close series against Gerald, if you remember. I mean, that could have been a 2-0 in favor of OFFSYDE to kick things off. And we also had Rex, of course, doing his best against MaxPax. A rough matchup there, but again, Rex did hold his own. Did end up falling, of course, and Firefly here can redeem himself and his team.
Yeah, can redeem himself and his team and his pride. Yeah, I guess that was implicit. Team pride. Coming in here from OFFSYDE Esports. You don't want to allow Systeminen and Sidestorm Na'Vi to come out of this without a little bit of blood. Without bloodying them up a little bit.
Exactly, and Firefly already kicking things off here with a proxy pylon across the map. It looks like he wants to try to go for his own gateway to reinforce. Adept does arrive. We do scout. We do confirm that there's a CC on the high ground. Again, it was a rack expand out of Spirit, but it was a CC on the, or it was just a safer expansion setup from Spirit as he's now looking to expand and take his natural.
Just like so.
It's a proxy gateway.
Yeah, one of... I was going to say one of many, but I guess one is all you really need. He's got more gateways back at home.
Yeah, it's going to be a 3-gate opener here from Firefly, so very aggressive. He's going to try his goal here. His aim is to snowball out of control and to break through these Marines, break through that Widow Mine, and deny any kind of mining at the natural, maybe even push into the main as well. Bearing in mind this is not an all-in, but an aggressive build nonetheless, as all the Marines are getting quite low. We do get into the main.
Oh! But we do make it out of here as well. At the side of that Cyclone. Spirit's feeling pretty safe now, but maybe he shouldn't.
Yeah, pulling a couple of boys to repair. Stalkers are coming in to reinforce. Widowmine is repositioning. We do have eyes on this as the armies are going to be clashing. We do focus down the Widowmine.
And yeah, Spirit will no longer be able to retreat into that. Forced to pull his boys. He will be chasing this back, but he loses all of his Marines to do so.
Yeah, he lost his Widowmine.
Cyclone stays alive though.
Cyclone does survive, but we gain control of the low ground just like that. Spirit has to give up on his natural base. More Stalkers have arrived as well. And can we focus out these Cyclones? Again, we do manage to get a Stalker here. 2 Cyclones are getting quite low.
Yeah, how good is the juggling going to be here from Spirit? One Cyclone, just one volley away. Both Cyclones one volley away, but one of them definitely a lot lower than the other. Forced to land a Viking, but with that, Firefly does retreat away from here.
Yes, Spirit, he's barely holding on. Thankfully, he pulls some boys. He's repairing, topping up those Cyclones. More Stalkers have arrived, reinforcing. A 4th gateway was thrown away, or sorry, was thrown down behind this, so it's going to be 4 gate from Firefly. Prism on the way as well to reinforce. Firefly, he's committed.
And he wants to break this so bad, but with a Viking and 2 Cyclones, I just don't see it happening.
I mean, he's all in. He's completely all in at this point. Remember, there's no blink, so he can't really micro back behind this, but the War Prism does give him a more defensive blink here available. Does try to outposition the army. He's getting on top of the tank.
That tank is very exposed, and it will go down. Throws off a couple of volleys. These Stalkers do take a lot of hull damage.
Yeah, we're bleeding out a lot of Stalkers here. Some good pickoffs. Liberator goes out as well, but we are bleeding out a lot of Stalkers in the process. Good target firing out of Spirit. He does pick off whatever he can. Boys are being pulled. His army's getting low, though.
Ooh. Yeah, Cyclone gets picked off, and that's pretty much the backbone of Spirit's army. Tank is now out. It will not be able to siege. But with the boys being pulled to provide a little bit of a buffer, Spirit will be able to chase us back. Will be able to survive and continue mining.
Yeah, and you can see Firefly transitioning back at home. We have a 3rd base on the way. We have Robot Production, Twilight Council, and a Forge as well. Firefly, he has a lot of catching up to do just because he delayed so much tech in favor of this aggression, but it's finally paying off. He even gets into the main.
And he's picking up quite a number of SCVs. Even loads right on top of the tank to negate its siege effect.
Yeah, it does. It managed to shade into that mineral line as well. SCVs are going down, forcing some friendly fire.
Yeah, 9 SCVs get taken out. That's pretty significant at this stage of the game, especially with Firefly just finishing up his 3rd base. 5 more gateways are on the way. He knows that he is safe and secure economically, so it's now time to focus on his production, focus on teching up, which he's doing right now with Charge.
Yeah, this is a big 1-2 punch, by the way. With that 5 gateway explosion, that's going to be 9 gates in total on 3 bases. He has not taken any gases at his 3rd. He's not taking any gases at his natural either. This looks like a follow-up all-in here from Firefly with Charge and with Immortals.
Yeah, and that might just about be the final nail in the coffin here. Still no blink, so these Vikings are going to be able to take out the Warp Prism. That's pretty much going to be the end of the harass itself. Firefly might still keep these Stalkers on this side of the map, just try to contain and slow down Spirit for as long as possible. I cannot believe that Proxy is still alive. I could have sworn Spirit sent a couple of units to deal with it earlier on, but I guess he did get sidetracked a little bit when the Stalkers took out his tank.
Yeah, when the tank went down, Spirit had to turn back around. Meanwhile, here comes the army. The prison's being remade. You can see 5 pylons on the way. That's because we do not intend to really macro out of this. The goal here is to warp in as much army as we can. Stalkers, Zealots, as much as possible here to break Spirit. It's all or nothing for Firefly.
Yeah, Charge did just about finish up. And with that, they can definitely negate... Ooh. I was going to say negate the tanks, the wall. Not a full wall just yet, but it might just be good enough. Mass repair coming down. No sentries for the force field, but it might not be necessary here. Good target firing from Spirit.
Yeah, the whole position micro looking good here from Spirit, by the way. The tank getting so much damage done. Stalkers are falling as well. And we are running out of Zealots. Immortals being targeted. Zealots, they do bust into the base, though. They're getting on top of the tanks. And Firefly, he's barely breaking through.
GG is called, and Firefly will be hitting back, will be taking a victory here against Spirit. Won't change the outcome of the result, but at least he is able to show off some offsite pride here by taking a map from Spirit.
GG, well played, Firefly. That was a close all-in, by the way. Again, Spirit did such a great job with the whole position micro of his SCVs, with the choke point that he had created as well. So many Zealots and Stalkers went down to that choke point, but Firefly, he still barely had too much. and he does redeem himself. GG, well played. Psystorm Na'Vi will take the series, but a shout out to Firefly, a shout out to uThermal for taking some maps and making a series out of it.
Yeah, that was one of the closest matches I think that we've had in WTL thus far. Especially game number 1 between Firefly and Spirit. uThermal versus Gerald, very, very close as well, but to have a full-on base trade like that, you can probably count on both hands the number of times that has happened in competitive StarCraft 2.
Yeah, I mean, again, there's a world out there where Firefly 2-0s or uThermal 2-0s, and then we get an ace match, or even OFFSYDE win this. So even though the score was in favor of Psystorm, even though it was like a 4-2 in favor of Psystorm, this was a very close series, and OFFSYDE they almost took it themselves. They almost took it.
Yeah, very, very close indeed. Almost took it. Which hopefully is a good omen for them as the rest of the season goes on. We're still very, very early. It's still round 3 out of 11, so still a lot that they can get done, and still quite a few teams that I would say are beatable for OFFSYDE if they keep up this level of performance.
Definitely, and we're going to be back tomorrow with day number 2 of WTL of World Team League. Tomorrow we have Twisted Fairy versus Berserker Esports alongside Platinum R8 versus CranKy Z Gaming. If you're in the chat, be sure to follow, be sure to join our Discord server. We have predictions available in the Discord if you want to keep track of your predictions and rank yourselves amongst everyone else in the server, so we can have some fun in our Discord. Otherwise, we'll see you tomorrow for World Team League.
Indeed, we shall. And we hopefully another close one on our hands.
Hopefully so.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Yaku, do you have anything you want to say before we head off for the night? Again, it's getting quite late here in Australia. It's 1 a.m. It's badge time, Bobby. Badge time.
Oh, they don't play until Sunday. Never mind. Okay.
What are you gonna say?
I was gonna say I'm disappointed in the lack of faith for coffee so far in the prediction game.
You're an animal, Pop. You're an animal. But yeah, that is going to be Sunday. That is Mystery Gaming versus Basilisk. We'll get there. We'll get there. Don't you worry. But yeah.
Yeah. Good luck in everyone's predictions this season. We did add that additional feature. Or Kuro did add an additional feature this time. We're also having something called the Dean ranking, which is figuring out who is the worst predictor who was trying to be good.
There you go. We'll figure it out. And I think we already know who it's going to be. But
we'll see. We'll see.
We'll see. With that, thanks for watching, everyone. Thanks for the support. We'll see you guys tomorrow for some WTL and for some KSL action as well. Until then, hasta luego.
Hasta la vista.
Bella.
Ciao.